Something a little different today. I've had a lot of questions about how I rank players when I'm opening wax packs and putting cards on the pedestals. A lot of times that's just players that I found fun. Doesn't matter why or who they were. Oftentimes it's just great players too. But for this, I went straight off the stats. So if you want to hear more about the criteria I used, hang on to the end and I'll explain it. Let's go ahead and dive in with number 5, Manny. Kind of surprised me that he made this list, but when I was looking into the stats, it made perfect sense. Had to include him. He was second in batting average for the decade with 298 for catchers, and he was fourth in games played, RBIs, and hits. I always thought he was pretty good, but it was interesting to see how he compared against his peers. Gotta love this card with the A's, too. Number 4 is Carlton Fisk, a Hall of Famer and legendary member of the 70s Red Sox. Fisk was easy to include. He ranked third in the decade amongst catchers for both home runs and slugging percentage. He was fifth in batting average and won 1 Gold Glove. An icon of the times, he immortalized himself for his postseason heroics in 1975. Third on my list is Thurman Munson. Many consider it a travesty he's not in the Hall of Fame, and frankly, I'm one of them. Others say he didn't play long enough, but what are you going to do? He tragically passed away. Anyway, in the 70s, Thurman won an MVP award, and he was third amongst catchers in hits, RBIs, and games played. He also won 3 Gold Gloves. Hopefully that'll be enough to get him a plaque in Cooperstown. Second on my list is Ted Simmons, Hall of Famer. Ted was a very easy player to include, very solid. He was a great catcher. He just had the bad luck of playing in the National League at the same time as the guy who came in number 1 on my list. Ted led all catchers in hits during the 70s with 683, and he ranked second in games played, home runs, and RBIs. Those kind of numbers speak for themselves. Of course, coming in at number 1 is Johnny Bench. Many consider him the best catcher ever, and he certainly was the best I ever saw. Rocket arm, great defense. He called an excellent game and an amazing hitter. Johnny led all catchers in the 70s in home runs, RBIs, games played, and he won 8 Gold Gloves. Toss in a couple MVP awards, and he's a clear-cut number 1. Honorable mentions go out to Gary Carter. He just didn't play enough game in the 70s, as well as Darryl Porter, Jim Sundberg, and Bob Boone. All great defensive players who really deserve consideration. Now, as far as the rankings that I gave, I used stats. I looked at only what they did as a catcher for games played, home runs, RBIs, hits, batting average, slugging percentage, Gold Gloves, and, of course, MVP awards. That's only in the 70s, and that's only at catchers, and that's how I ranked them. Well, I should also throw in a little bit of what I remember seeing them do as well. They were awful fun players to watch, and the 70s was when I was a little kid, and heck, I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe.